Hi, happy Monday, you guys. So happy to be here. I can't even get my words. I'm so happy to be here with you all. I'm give y'all some time to get in here. We're gonna discuss a few things before we get into the topic. Happy Mother's Day to all of those who missed my Mother's Day special. Please go back and check that out. It is just honoring our moms. It is honoring our moms. I had such a beautiful Mother's Day. I was offline most of the time, not available, playing The Sims, rewatching some Mary Jane, rewatching some Power, Cold Stone, CPK. What's up? Like, had a beautiful, beautiful time. I was catered to the whole weekend. I greatly appreciate my husband, Papa. So yes, and my daughter, she just the gift. She's just so thoughtful. Like just coming by saying, "Hey, you're the best mom," was the sweetest thing ever. So I had a beautiful, beautiful weekend. Also, for all of those of you who are into battle rap, like I'm not sure if I've said this before, but battle rap is one of my absolute favorite pastimes. Everything from the battles to battle rap commentary, watching and listen to some of the bloggers. UM3 was yesterday, Ultimate Menace 3, and some folks pulled out. Cortez I was rooting for. Did Geechee came out, Nitty came out, and KCJ came out. Of all of those, and she was a non-starter for me. KCJ gives me very much Bonnie Godiva's energy. Like it's not really authentic. It comes across really disconnected sometimes. I think her material is pretty good, but that could go either way. So for all of y'all who didn't catch it, it'll be I thoroughly watch battle rap thoroughly, and I truly enjoyed the tournament this weekend. UM3 is a tournament. What else? How's the weather been for y'all? Because those are the two big things that I wanted to talk about. Oh, also gardening. While we get some folks in here, how many of you are into gardening? I'm gonna try to incorporate some of that in my lives, which I forget about. I really enjoy gardening. I only do seasonal gardening though. I don't. And of course, my babies. I have plants literally all over my office. I absolutely love plant life. Like I just think it's amazing. So I have tons and tons of plants all over my office, all over our home. I love them. On top of like doing seasonal gardening. So I do like veggies, I do fruit, and I do herbs. I don't know for those of you who are into medicinal purposed medicine. So like let's say you have a skin rash, maybe you'll make up something with some kind of herb, right? They have books for this. I have a book at home that kind of talks you through all of the ingredients you would need to make medicinal medicine, or I say medicinal medicine, but it really is like holistic treatments, everything from your skin to your stomach, to those of women who are pregnant, like things that you could use for headaches. So growing herbs is another. You don't have to grow your own herbs. Let me say that. You do not have to grow your own herbs. You can go and purchase herbs to make some of the recipes. But I just like the idea of growing something from the earth, and like me having a hand in something being a part of what I use on my skin or my hair. So I also grow aloe vera plants. Growing different fruits and vegetables. This year, I think I have some potatoes, blackberries. We have grapes. We have oregano. We have rosemary. We have thyme. We have basil. We have lemon balm. We have chamomile tea. We have so many daggone things. Onions, leeks. Tomatoes, we have cabbage, we have cucumbers, we have zucchini, I believe, we have strawberries, tons and tons and tons of stuff. I like to grow variety. I know Sometimes people stick to like one or two things that they eat a lot, which is really good. I do suggest sticking to things that you eat, but I also like variety, and I like to give away a lot of the things that we grow, just because, I like to encourage growing from the earth and eating what you grow. I also think it's a great survival skill. So just as we wait for some folks, so we're gonna get started. Today's topic is generational hurt. Now, I know this is such a vast conversation. We're not going to, I want to make sure that I am strategic enough to where I'm honing in on one thing. And I think the pass down effect is really what I want to focus on. So the one thing that I see fairly often is when people take on other folks' hurt, specifically their family, right? Everything from, and it essentially is leading to like generational curses, that whole concept, right? How do we get to a space where we take on other people's hurt? How are we transitioning and carrying on generational curses? Curse is really a tricky word, and I really do try to stay away from that. I say hurt or pain or suffering. I really like to underline and use the word suffering in place of curse, because a curse almost infers that it's out of your power to change. And I don't really like to use that kind of terminology, but I will say suffering, generational suffering. How do we transition out of generational suffering? What are some examples? I think one of the examples I would use is, let's say you have a child, right? Well, this is not a child. This is an adult person, maybe 25, 26 years old. They find that they have a struggling relationship with their father due to, their father having cheated on their mother multiple times, their mom, seeing their mom be sad, seeing their mom be hurt, and their parents are still together. She finds that she has a strained relationship with her father as a result of her mom's hurt. Why do you say as a result of? Simply because there are things that happen in a marriage or a relationship that impact the children, but most times have absolutely nothing to do with them. That does not mean that the children don't then carry on the pain that has accumulated in that relationship, i.e., if mom stayed in that relationship, that was her choice. She is both a victim and her own perpetrator, right? If she made choices in that relationship as well to choose some of her experiences, right? If dad's relationship with his daughter now, that doesn't mean that it doesn't impact, what the daughter thinks about dad's behavior, right? But it should not impact how the daughter interacts with dad, considering that she wasn't the one cheated on. Now, I'm not going to get into details about like the expansion or the trickle down effect, right? I'm just want to keep it to the basic idea, being that the hurt that happened in that marriage when her dad violated her mom was between her dad and her mom. Her relationship with her dad should be based on her relationship with her dad. If dad left the family, if dad brought around the person he cheated with, if dad wasn't engaging with her, if dad wasn't taking care of her, those are things that she should be able to hold him accountable to, right? But it's not okay to hold dad accountable to something that happened in his marriage with her mother, because that is her mother's job. Now, do we find that again, transgenerational hurt, or that hurt transitions down? It absolutely can and will. The conversation though needs then to come around boundaries. There are things that happen in marriages, again, that have nothing to do with the kids and have everything to do with how they experience their family or their parents, the kids. When we talk about hurts, let's say let's talk about addiction. That's actually one of my favorite metaphors to use. Addiction. Oh, well, grandpa was abused alcohol, so now dad abuses alcohol. Okay, so now I abuse alcohol. The transgenerational suffering. Who in that path has chosen to heal, to recover, And have they been successful enough not to transfer it down, right? Even still, even if dad chose to maintain recovery, that doesn't mean that I'm still not at risk, right? I'm still in that increased risk because of the generational experience, okay? I'm still at risk. So it's keeping that in mind, but also not transitioning into that pattern of being. And let's say, okay, well, I don't use alcohol, I use heroin, or I don't use alcohol, I use amphetamines, or I don't use alcohol. Addiction, right? The idea, let's underline that. That is still what's being transitioned. Addiction, suffering. Suffering is still transferring, right? Still transitioning through generations, even if it doesn't look exactly like what it looked like before. I think of also like relationships with mental health. You'll have someone who, and this is all statistically proven, how you are at higher risk if someone in your family has struggled with a mental health issue or illness. And then again, you are at higher risk. Even if you may not ever end up struggling, you can be proactive. You can be thoughtful about treatment opportunities. You can be thoughtful about self-care, not to continue the suffering, right? Sometimes suffering is simply based on our reaction, not necessarily our experience. Right? It doesn't mean that we're not suffering as in we are in pain, et cetera, et cetera. That infers that we have responded in what way. Are we continuing the suffering? Are we encouraging the suffering? Are we compartmentalizing the suffering? Are we dealing with it, going through it, processing, healing from the suffering? Are we growing from it? What are we doing in response to however and whatever ways we are suffering? You know, every day we encounter people who are in pain, every day, even ourselves. Every day we encounter people who are in pain. We have a choice to create a boundary. We don't have to take on someone else's pain or suffering, all that good codependence. We don't have to take that on, right? That's not our jobs. We still can create boundaries around supporting people, but also creating a clear delineation between their feelings and experiences and your feelings and your experiences. So just to keep that in mind, we don't have to endure someone else's experience in order to support them. We don't have to do that. Empathizing with them is great, but that doesn't mean taking it on yourself. That is one of the most important tools I would say you have to have as a therapist, because we encounter people every day, all day long, that are struggling, that are suffering, that are in pain. And even through our processing and supporting and all of that, we cannot take that on. If we do, that'll be the death of you, literally and figuratively. It's so much suffering that happens in the world that we have to be mindful that we have our own, right? We have our own pain, we have our own sadness, we have our own peace we're trying to look for and pursue. We have to make space for that. So not for nothing, through this live today, the idea is just to create reasonable boundaries. You can support without taking on, right? You could provide feedback without judging. You can love and embrace and empathize, right, without trying to fix. So just creating a space for that, and allowing others to support you in that way. Well, I hope y'all enjoyed this conversation today. Please make sure you get the Finding Me workbook or the conversation journal on my website, themahoganyproject.com, or your couples conversation cards. We'll be doing a few activities from those coming up in the next Mondays. Y'all have a beautiful, beautiful day. I'll see y'all later.